Mature Tiantai praxis analyzes the mental process as going through the four phases of not yet thinking, about to think, thinking, and done thinking. But it is made very clear that this always refers to some specific mental act, thinking of some particular object. Not yet thinking does not refer, in Z at least, to any blank quiescent state of awareness prior to the arising of all thought. It means simply that all the thoughts prior to the one in question, that is, whatever was going on when one was not yet thinking about this particular object. Moreover, all four of these phases are ontologically in the same boat. All are to be analyzed as empty, provisionally posited, and the center, and for exactly the same reason. Namely, all four phases have a beginning and an end, are temporal events, and the ostensible borderlines between themselves and whatever precedes and succeeds them, which define them as being what they are and nothing besides, cannot be intelligibly understood, cannot possibly exist as simply located entities. The not yet arisen is really an aspect seen from within some particular arisen moment of thought, not some putative other state that is entirely free from any thoughts. Moments of experience are not isolated atoms. Indeed, they cannot be. If they were, on the Tiantai view, they would not be experienceable at all. The past moment, the not yet that precedes this moment, is present here within this moment, internal to it, perceivable from within it. There is inexorable multiplicity within the apparent singularity of this moment. As we shall see, this necessary co-presence of multiplicity and singularity is the essence of the Tiantai practice of mind contemplation. It must be understood, then, to state it plainly, that when Tiantai writers state that, quote, the mind creates all dharmas, close quote, they do not mean that the mind, either the deluded mind or the putative pure mind, literally creates all dharmas, or any dharmas at all, in the normal sense of the term. Quote, create, close quote, here cannot mean to bring a previously non-existent entity into existence ex nihilo. Indeed, in the strict sense, Tiantai denies that any entity at all is created, by mind or by any other agent. There is no genuine transition from non-existence to existence, nor vice versa. Both of these concepts, existence and non-existence, are regarded by Tiantai doctrine as merely provisionally coherent and having no correspondence to ultimate reality. However, in the key passage of the Moho Zhiguan on the, quote, mind as the inconceivable object, close quote, Ziyi starts by introducing the theme of creation by mind, quoting the Avatamsaka Sutra, quote, the mind is like a skilled painter, creating all different varieties of the five aggregates, close quote. He then enumerates these various types of aggregates, the 10 realms of sentient beings in all their aspects, stating in each case that the mind inherently entails all of these aspects. But after stating categorically that the mind inherently entails all 3,000 aspects of reality, he hastens to add that this does not mean that the mind is prior to these 3,000 in any sense. Rather, he states that their relation is like that between an object and the 8 characteristics that constitute its process of becoming, that is, greater and lesser characteristics of arising, dwelling, changing, and vanishing. The relation between identity, determinacy, and the process of arising and perishing is again to be noted here. The claim that the mind creates all things is thus immediately glossed as the mind inherently entails all things, which is then quickly amended to, quote, precisely the mind is all dharmas, precisely all dharmas are the mind, close quote. A moment later, Z indicates the implications of this claim for his previous statement about creation. That is, the way in which it undermines it. He states categorically that it is no more correct to say that mind creates and entails all things than to say the objective conditions create and entail all things and cognitions. Both of these statements are locally coherent, but globally incoherent. They fall under the four propositions. That is, that anything arises from itself, from another, from both, or from neither, which was rejected by Nagarjuna. After a lengthy refutation of all possible positions, filtered through the standard Tiantai Three Truths epistemology, Z states, quote, "If one grasps this meaning, all the descriptions are valid, and all descriptions are invalid. However, if one goes with the most convenient, that is, useful for meditative purposes description, one should say that ignorance gives determinate form to the dharma nature. And this is what produces all dharmas. It is like the dharma of sleep giving determinate form to the mind, and thus producing all events in a dream. The mind and external conditions join, and thus all the 3,000 natures and characteristics of the world arise from the mind." Close quote. Strictly speaking, no possible answer can be given to this search for a single unambiguous source of any kind. It is beyond thought and comprehension, and more specifically, it is created neither by the dharma nature, nor by ignorance, nor by both, nor by neither. It is not what is so, nor what is not so, nor both, nor neither. John Rand clarifies the implications of this view in his Ziguayili. Question. Zihis Mohe Ziguan says, quote, "Believe only in the dharma nature, do not believe in anything else," close quote. There is only one dharma nature, nothing else exists. But then, what are all the diverse dharmas we see before us? And why is it also said that the dharma nature inherently entails all the many dharmas? Answer. Because sentient beings for long eons have been exclusively attached to the diverse dharmas and did not believe in the dharma nature. This statement is made as a corrective to destroy this ancient prejudiced way of calculating, so that in all the diverse dharmas they will see purely and only the dharma nature. But to see the dharma nature is to see that the dharma nature is purely and only all the diverse dharmas. This nature, that is also all the diverse dharmas, is originally without either the one name or the other. It is called either or diverse dharmas or one nature, in accordance with the need to refute or establish upayically. Ziporyn goes on to say, neither unity nor diversity is primary. It is not the case that the world appears to be multiform, diluted, and biased, but is in reality one. Rather, either of these ways of stating the case is equally biased, and either is also equally valid to be applied as a corrective to a previous bias. But it is the mind's power to disambiguate this neither same nor different into some determinate scheme of sameness and difference that is the delusion that is to be focused on in Tiantai meditation. Zanran goes on further to say, Question. All the texts say that mind and material form are non-dual. But if we want to contemplate this, how do we set up our contemplation? Answer. Mind and material form are one substance. Neither precedes the other. Each is the entire Dharma realm. But in the sequence of contemplation, we must start with the internal mind. Once the internal mind is purified, this pure mind will encounter all dharmas and naturally meld with them all perfectly. Moreover, we must first understand that all dharmas are mind only, and only then begin contemplating the mind. If you can comprehend all dharmas to the end, you will see that all dharmas are nothing but mind, and that all dharmas are nothing but material form. You must understand that every existence comes from the distinctions made by one's own mind. When have dharmas themselves ever declared that they were the same or different from one another? Hence, the Zhan Cha Jing says, quote, there are two types of contemplation. The first is consciousness only. The second is of the real attribute. that is, of the ultimate reality. Ziporyn then comments to say that, again, reality is ultimately neither material nor mental, but the contemplation of mind is made primary for the sake of Buddhist practice, precisely because it is mind that is the source of the problem of delusion and suffering for sentient beings. All is mind, all is matter. But in what sense are the things said to be mind from the point of view of praxis? The mark of mind is the making of distinctions. Dharmas themselves do not distinguish themselves from one another, do not predicate sameness or difference of themselves.